You bought a bottle of mouthwash last week and poured it into the tiny cap like you always do. You swished it for 30 seconds, felt that sharp, burning rush through your mouth, and still noticed your gums bleeding later that night when you flossed. That blue liquid sitting on your bathroom shelf, the one that promises freshness every morning, is doing something very different from what the label suggests. It is not just cleaning. It is stripping away protective bacteria, irritating delicate gum tissue, and slowly contributing to the recession that makes teeth appear longer over time. That burning sensation people associate with it working is not proof of bacteria being destroyed. It is chemical irritation of living tissue. In contrast, there are families in rural Holmes County, Ohio, often Amish households, who have not used commercial mouthwash for generations. Instead, they rely on a simple pantry oil that costs only a few dollars. Over multiple generations, they have reportedly maintained stronger teeth and fewer dental issues compared to average populations. One observation, often repeated in these communities, is consistent oral health into old age without complex dental routines. A man once described watching an elder swish oil slowly each morning before breakfast, sitting quietly as the sun rose, treating it as normal routine rather than a trend. That same elder had strong teeth well into advanced age, with no visible recession or frequent dental procedures. The explanation often given for this practice connects to oil pulling, an ancient technique rooted in Ayurvedic traditions, described in texts like the Charaka Samhita. It has also appeared in European folk practices carried through migration traditions over centuries. The idea behind it is simple. Instead of using strong antiseptic chemicals, oil is used to physically bind debris and bacteria in the mouth. Coconut oil in particular is often chosen because it contains lauric acid, a fatty acid studied for its antimicrobial properties. Inside the mouth, there is an entire ecosystem of roughly 700 species of bacteria. Not all of them are harmful. Some actually support processes like nitric oxide production, which plays a role in regulating blood pressure. When strong antibacterial mouthwash is used repeatedly, it does not selectively target only harmful organisms. It can also disrupt beneficial ones. Some research has suggested that frequent use of strong antiseptic mouthwash may temporarily reduce nitrate-reducing bacteria in the mouth, which can influence nitric oxide availability in the body. This is one reason the mouth is now understood less as something that should be sterilized and more as a balanced microbial environment. The oral microbiome forms a biofilm on teeth, a sticky protective layer that cannot be fully removed by rinsing alone. Over time, this biofilm can harden into tartar if not mechanically disrupted. Oil pulling is often described as a mechanical and chemical interaction with this biofilm. Coconut oil, due to its lipid nature, mixes with saliva and is believed to bind to bacteria and debris, helping loosen the film over time with consistent practice. Some clinical studies have explored this. A randomized trial published in dental research journals compared coconut oil pulling with chlorhexidine mouthwash and found that both showed reductions in certain bacterial counts over short periods. Other reviews have suggested reductions in plaque and gingival inflammation indicators in small sample groups. While results vary and are not universally conclusive, they have contributed to continued interest in the practice. A typical traditional routine involves taking a spoonful of coconut oil first thing in the morning before eating or drinking. The oil is swished gently through the mouth, pushed between teeth and along gum lines, and held for an extended period. Over time, it mixes with saliva and becomes thinner and milky in appearance. After the process, it is expelled and followed by rinsing and sometimes gentle brushing using simple abrasive mixtures like baking soda and salt. The timing is often emphasized. Early morning, before any food or water, is considered the most consistent traditional window. This is based on the idea that overnight, saliva production slows and oral bacteria activity changes, leaving a different environment upon waking. Performing the practice at this time is believed to interact with that natural cycle more effectively than later in the day. Some versions of the practice include additional natural ingredients, like clove. Clove contains eugenol, a compound studied for its soothing and antibacterial properties in dental applications. Historically, it has been used in traditional dentistry practices for centuries. In these routines, a single dried clove is sometimes added during oil swishing, slowly releasing its compounds into the mixture over time. The broader claim, often made by supporters of oil-based oral care, is that modern dental hygiene heavily relies on commercial products developed during the rise of the consumer oral care industry in the early 20th century. Advertising played a major role in shaping public perception of bad breath and oral cleanliness, turning them into social concerns rather than purely medical ones. Meanwhile, low-cost, traditional practices remained outside mainstream commercial systems, often passed down quietly within families and rural communities. There are also claims from some observational discussions linking frequent antiseptic mouthwash use with metabolic changes due to disruption of oral bacteria involved in nitrate processing. Some research has explored associations between oral microbiome disruption and systemic effects like blood pressure variation and metabolic markers, though these findings remain an evolving area of study rather than established certainty. Within alternative oral care communities, oil pulling is often framed as a low-cost, supportive practice, rather than a replacement for brushing or dental care. Coconut oil is inexpensive, widely available, and used in small daily amounts. A simple routine described in many traditional-inspired versions begins with oil swishing in the morning for an extended period, followed by rinsing, and then gentle brushing with mild, natural abrasives like baking soda and salt. The emphasis is consistency over intensity. Some individuals who adopt the practice report changes over weeks, such as reduced gum bleeding during flossing, a cleaner-feeling tongue, or changes in breath freshness. Others report no noticeable difference, highlighting variability in response. Critics of the practice point out that many studies are small, short-term, or not definitive enough to replace established dental hygiene recommendations. Dentists generally continue to emphasize brushing with fluoride toothpaste, flossing, and regular professional cleanings as the foundation of oral health. Still, interest in traditional methods persists, especially among people seeking low-cost or natural adjuncts to their routines. The concept of combining coconut oil with clove extract is sometimes mentioned in traditional herbal dentistry discussions. Eugenol from clove has been studied for its analgesic and antimicrobial properties in dental contexts, and its use alongside oil is viewed as an extension of traditional formulations rather than a modern invention. Across all of these practices, one central idea remains consistent. The mouth is not just a static space to be sterilized, but a living ecosystem that responds to what is introduced into it daily. Whether one views oil pulling as a deeply effective oral therapy or complementary folk practice, its continued use across cultures and generations is tied to the belief that simple, low-cost methods can support oral hygiene when applied consistently. For those who try it, the routine is straightforward. A small amount of coconut oil is placed in the mouth in the morning, gently swished for an extended period, then removed. This is followed by rinsing and light brushing. Over time, it becomes part of a daily rhythm rather than a complex procedure. The broader conversation around oral health continues to evolve, as new research explores how bacteria in the mouth influence not just teeth and gums, but potentially wider aspects of health. In that context, practices like oil pulling remain part of a larger discussion about balance between modern dentistry, traditional knowledge, and personal experience.